Windows Weekly is coming up next. Ed Bott joins us with Paul Thurrott to gnaw the Windows 7 upgrade bones and a rare Windows 3.11 tip. Windows Weekly is coming up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Ed Bott, episode 129 for November 6th, 2009. Hypirony and Ironicracy. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Audible.com. For your free audiobook and a whole lot more, visit audiblepodcasts.com/Windows. And by GoToAssist Express, an easy way to provide instant tech support to your customers, clients, family, or friends. For a free 30-day trial, go to gotoassist.com/Windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show that covers all things Microsofty, whether it be the Zune, Windows 7. We could even do Windows 3.0 because we got some old timers on the show today. First of all, let me say hello to Mr. Paul Thurrott. He is in Redmond today.
Yellow.
Yellow. You're at Bob's house.
Joe's house.
Okay, Joe's house, Bob's house.
Joe and Rachel's house.
Joe and Rachel. Well, thanks to Joe and Rachel for providing the bandwidth for today's show.
Exactly. For everybody.
For everybody. Yeah, they didn't know that, did they? That the entire show will be downloaded from Joe and Rachel's
Wi-Fi. The episode will be downloaded from his house.
Yes, exactly. What are you doing in Redmond?
Well, I came here for a SQL Pass conference, but also to have meetings at the Microsoft campus.
There you go.
So I escaped unscathed from my meeting with the people responsible for the upgrade media.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Mm-hmm. Were you prepared to get yelled at?
Well, I didn't know how that was going to go. But the guy, one of the guys sort of joked and said, "So you're Thurrott, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he pretended he was locking the door behind
Hello, Thurrott. Also with us, we're really happy to have Ed Bott on. We were talking about you in Your Name in Vain last week, Ed.
Oh,
well,
yes.
I get that a lot.
Not so much in vain.
No, in fact, he showed up. It was kind of like summoning the devil. We just had to say
say it 3 times.
Beetlejuice,
yep.
Beetlejuice.
It could be the pentagram I'm sitting on right. Ed is at edbot.com, also blogs.zdnet.com/bot with 2 T's.
With 2 T's.
And writes about Microsoft Matters and is truly an expert on Windows. And we're going to talk about Windows upgrades, I know, with Ed. Also, our newest host.
Thank you for that very kind introduction.
Yes. Well, Ed and I have worked together for we just figured it out, since Windows 3.0. 20 years.
We were children then.
Yeah.
So was Windows.
We're children now. So nothing much has changed. But Ed and I used to work with John C. Dvorak on his show, Dvorak on Computers. In fact, Ed would fill in for John very regularly, anytime John was too drunk to get up in the morning. And it's good to have you back, Ed.
Who does that for him now?
He shows up now. That's what makes it so very much fun. Also with us, and she's going to be with us on a lot of our shows over the next few weeks, the wonderful Kiki Sanford, Dr. Kiki. She's the host of our Dr. Kiki Science Hour on the Twit Network, and she's going to be doing a lot of hosting for us going forward because we're very happy to announce we've hired her. So I thought I'd like to get her to sit in and find out really what Windows Weekly is really all about.
And in a sad bid for diversity and to prove that there are women in technology.
Well, hey, can I point out something? Because I asked Kiki, I said, well, now, you're a Windows user, right? And then I remembered she has an NC10. You have a netbook.
Yeah, I have a netbook. I use Windows Mobile.
And that's what blew me away. She's using Windows Mobile like 4 on her cell phone. So that's dedication. So if you have any Windows Mobile questions, Ed or Paul, just Kiki's here. And I'm actually very excited. Before we get to the matter at hand, I'm sitting here installing my new Dell Latitude Z.
What's that little booklet you got there?
This is
user manual?
Yeah, look at it. But this is the user manual just for the wireless dock. It uses ultra wideband. Yeah. And so it's really kind of cool. There's this little wireless dock that then I connect the monitor to and the USB to.
I see. Okay.
What do you mean, I see? What do you mean? Oh, I see.
What you said is immediately obvious to me. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
Oh, I see. Oh.
I didn't mean it in a condescending way.
Well, it was a little Alex Trebek kind of. Oh, I see. Oh, well, if that's how you're going to be. Anyway, and it's thin. It's beautiful. I'm really liking this. And, of course, unfortunately, remember we were talking about this, Paul, and you said do not push the button.
Yes.
Wait till Windows 7. Wait till October 22nd.
Did you?
No.
Yeah.
So guess what it came with?
Windows 7.
Vista. And not only Vista, but Vista 32-bit, which is puzzling to me because it's got 4 gigs of RAM.
Yep.
And I cannot upgrade to 764-bit. No.
You cannot do an in-place upgrade.
No, but I can't. They won't give me a 64-bit disk.
Who won't?
Dell. Because, they have that free upgrade thing, right?
You can download the drivers you need from
I think I could. Well, this is my question. It's a 64-bit hardware. Maybe there's some programs that don't work with it or something. That's why are they distributing it with 32-bit?
You're telling me you can't get 64-bit on this thing?
Not for the free upgrade.
Generally, right. That's generally the way the OEMs are working it. They will give you a one-for-one match with what your operating system was. However, you can get 64-bit media.
I'm running it right now.
And you can get 64-bit media and use it with the product key to to upgrade, and nobody would care.
Well, actually, there are a few people who would care.
There's people in Redmond
over the past few weeks.
There's some people in Redmond with locks.
It's just too bad, Leo, that no one warned you against doing this. If only you had
read your column,
waited a week.
No, I read your column this morning. I read the updates this morning, Paul.
I see.
Because I wanted to make sure that well, we'll talk about it in a second.
Okay.
Well, because I had an anomalous result. But I did have the Windows upgrade disk, and I did run it, and the 64-bit version. I didn't put a key in yet because I'm trying to decide, well, I got the free one from Dell, but it's only 32-bit. What would your recommendation be? Should I use the free 32-bit or spend $50 and put the 64 on there?
What? I don't know. Wait, where did the spend $50 come in?
Because I can't use the free Dell upgrade. It's 32-bit. Now it's 32-bit Pro because I have the business version.
Yeah. No, but where are you getting $50 from? What are you spending $50
Well, I bought that, the home pack upgrade thing.
Oh.
So that's the cheapest way I can get it, right, is $50.
I got you. Yeah.
But I have to, Ed, back me up here, Ed.
The product key that came with your upgrade will work with either a 32-bit or 64-bit version.
You demand.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't have to buy...
No.
I could take the old media. So I could take my 64-bit media and use the new product key.
Not the home premium media without making a change.
So I have to I have to get Business Pro media somewhere.
No, not necessarily. So you can extract the files.
I love this.
You can extract the files. You can edit a file, get a choice, and install professional.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen.
All you have to do is, I think you just delete ei.cfg.
Yeah, and then you'll get the list.
And then you get a menu of options. You choose the one that matches your product key, which is professional. There's no business. The word business is not in there anymore.
But I get the Pro version now.
I do that all the time.
I get the Pro version now.
It's like writing the year in January. We'll get used to it.
And the advantage of the Pro version is I can now run Windows XP.
What's the CPU on that machine?
That's an advantage.
It's a Core 2, the U9600.
So you need to find out whether it has hardware VT support.
It does.
Then that's one advantage of it. There are a few others.
So there are some reasons you might want the Pro.
You can do a system image backup directly to a network location.
That's good.
Which you can't do in Home Premium.
Like that.
You can join a domain. So when you set up your gigantic Windows Server 2008 R2 domain, you'll be able to connect to it immediately. That's probably huge for you.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely want to do that right away.
One or two other. I believe that Paul and I have both done exhaustive tables listing all the things there.
I've seen the tables.
You could Google them.
Yeah. No, I've seen your tables. In fact,
only someone had done the work.
Ed did that great simplified table. which I enjoyed quite immensely.
And I did a brand new one this week.
Did you?
Since Microsoft will not provide licensing information for consumers, I did it for them, and I've decided from now on, I think I'm going to start sending an invoice off to Microsoft every time I do one of those things. Just pick some arbitrary number that I know that they'll be able to pay out of available cash, and just send it to them.
It's based on the number of copies of Windows they sold while you were writing it.
Perfect. 1 cent for each one. I'm set.
Yeah. No, I think you could ask for $1 million because, frankly, that's cigarette money for Microsoft. That's nothing. These guys, they're made of money. So I am. Okay, a couple of things.
When you talk to Microsoft.
Yeah.
About things that are very obvious.
Yeah.
I would think to anyone, a lot of these licensing issues like Ed is bringing up, or the upgrade issues. And you mentioned one of them to these guys, and it's a table full of people. And they all look at each other and they're like, wow, that's a pretty good idea.
They didn't think of it.
And you think, really?
Kills me.
It's never occurred to you.
They just, oh, really? They go, oh, somebody might want to.
Well, you see them all look at each other. Suddenly, like the light, they're looking, back and forth across the table. Like, did no one thought of that? No one?
Oh. Yeah. Well,
because I'm not exactly a rocket scientist.
We're going to talk about the upgrade. I think that we should spend some time talking about the upgrade stuff.
Sure.
I have an interesting data point.
Okay.
You might enjoy, Paul.
All right.
Somebody called me on the radio show, said he got the upgrade disk. He called, but he wanted to do a clean install, so he called Microsoft. And you know what they did? They gave him your registry hack.
Oh, yeah.
The Microsoft support guy,
good Lord,
gave him your registry hack. The ones that they accused you of being, coddling pirates with.
Right. So again, I ask. I guess I have the chance to ask this twice in a row. Is that ironic or hypocritical?
Oh.
I don't believe those are mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Thank you. Finally, someone has answered that question correctly.
Both. Yes. The answer is yes.
It's Hypirony.
And I think we have the name of the episode.
Yes, let me write that down right away. How do you spell Hypirony? That's the question.
Or maybe Ironicracy. No, I think Hypirony.
Hypirony is very good.
Yeah.
Hypirony is not a mountain in France. Something like that. I don't know.
Or not just a mountain in France.
Not merely. So what is the current...
That's good stuff.
What is the current best thinking about this whole upgrade thing?
Well, I mean, there's no one statement you can say, right? I mean, I think that the general thing to say is if there's a version of Windows on the disk already, and however you plan to install it, clean install, whatever, you should not have problems activating,
It sees it and it just does it. Does that?
You might have to do it. You might have to activate over the phone. The actual official supported technique, and what turns out to be the easiest one from what I've tried and what I've been told, is to install it without entering a product key, just like you did, Leo.
Yes.
Then when you get to then after you get it running, there will be the option to activate it, and you will enter your product key, and it will fail. And at that point, it will offer to let you activate it over the phone. You make the phone call. You explain to them that that your machine was previously licensed. You did an upgrade install, and it's only running on one PC. And they will read you the numbers, and you'll be activated. That is absolutely the cleanest, simplest way.
It's the cleanest, simplest supported way. I would say.
And it's also can be time consuming. I mean,
no. This should happen pretty quick.
When they answer the phone, they answer it right away.
6 minutes.
And I was told that these guys are actually paid to turn these things around as quickly as possible.
Okay.
No one is going to be on the other end of the phone saying, well, "Wait a minute, what do you mean you did?
Right.
How did you install it?" They don't care. They just want to get it done.
I have literally, in fact, most of the time now you will get an automated system, and if you answer the questions, and the key question is, how many computers is this copy of Windows running on? And if you answer one, you will be able to continue, presuming that the same key that you just entered hasn't been used, 20 times.
Although, by the way,
already.
even I even got some amused glances at that question, where I said, well, obviously, if the thing has been used, many times, it would probably prevent you from doing it. They kind of looked at each other and smiled and said, "Well, yeah, we would hope so." But it's not designed for piracy, right? It's just designed.
Right. You know what? Good for them. They're being.
By the way, if you're
there is a great deal of tolerance. There is a great deal of tolerance built into the system precisely because if they try and get too hardline about it, then the PR backlash on them is what happened to them a couple years ago with WGA when it when it was going through its birth pains. And so they learned the lesson. It is better to allow a few pirates through and be tolerant in the system than it is to try to be a private detective or a CSI investigator with every caller.
Absolutely, and I'm really thrilled to hear that. Frankly, I think that's that's obviously the right thing. But there's never been a guarantee that any company of Microsoft size would obviously do the right thing. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting to me is that double install workaround that started back in the Vista days.
Double clutch where you install it, don't activate it, but install it again.
That's actually fully supported by Microsoft. They support that.
It's even listed in a KB article.
Yeah.
I guess one could ask,
sure,
why not just install?
Right. Well, no. I mean, my advice about the upgrade thing is whether you're doing a clean install or whatever. Obviously, just do it the right way and try to activate it. A lot of times, it will just work fine.
Can I ask you a question? If I have many laptops from Dell, HP, many other companies have hidden partitions.
Yeah,
would that count? Sometimes there's Windows on those partitions. That does not count.
It does not count.
No, it won't look for that. It doesn't count.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Right.
The one thing I found out this week that I thought was really interesting was that the big difference between Vista setup and Windows 7 setup is that in Vista, if you went through setup, you were doing a clean install with upgrade media, you got to the part of setup where it formats the disk. If you formatted the disk, you would then fail compliance checking because they did it after you formatted. So that version of Windows that used to be on the disk is no longer there. It doesn't see it.
Right.
So in Windows 7, they do the compliance check before that, so you don't have to worry about blowing it away. So that was one of the big questions, with 7 was, do you need to leave that folder structure on there? You know how it creates the Windows old folder structure. Do you need to do that and then maybe delete it later if you don't want it? Or can you, in fact, format? And the answer is you can format because it has already done the compliance check.
You mentioned in your article, Paul, that maybe the best way to launch the upgrade is from an existing copy of Windows. In other words, don't reboot, just to launch it from Windows.
Microsoft told me that if you do that, I don't want to use the word guarantee, but it's pretty much guaranteed to work.
Right.
Because when you boot from a previous version of Windows, you've done the compliance check. You're done. So it will reboot on its own, of course. And I think that's the type of install you did during the launch party, right?
It is. It's exactly what I did,
And,
so
that is the way that probably 85 to 90% of the world is going to do it. They're going to go down to Best Buy or to Newegg or online or whatever, and they're going to have a box, and then they're going to put the disk in their system and follow the instructions, and they've already got a working system. What we're really talking about here is a fairly small percentage, but a large number of people who want to do, clean installs for a variety of good reasons, and the thing is that even though it's a small percentage, it's a large number, and these people tend to be influential and well connected, so they make a lot of noise.
Right? They Twitter. Let's be honest. They're Twitterers.
Famous whiners.
Yeah. They're on Twitter. Twitter.
So Microsoft is, in fact, they did this. Paul, you'll remember the whole issue that they had over the licensing terms for Vista when they wanted to eliminate the ability to transfer a retail copy of Vista more than once. They said, well, no, hardly anybody wants to do this anyway. And as both Paul and I pointed out to them repeatedly, the people who do want to do this are your absolute best customers and ambassadors, and they all have blogs.
Right. And so it's funny you mentioned that, because that's one of the things they didn't want to talk about too much when I talked to them, which is the notion of deactivation, which is essentially what that is, that this is something you can't do with an OEM version, right? If you have the version that came with your PC is not transferable ever to another computer. But if you buy a retail version of Windows, you can, in fact, transfer it transfer it some number of times. I think there actually is some limit, but they're not. They don't.
There is no limit. There's no limit on the number of times you can do it. There's a limit on the number of times that you'll be able to activate it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But the legal restrictions are unlimited.
They didn't. They sort of looked at deactivation. We've never heard of this term. What do you mean?
What's deactivation?
Deactivate. You can't deactivate.
It's
you
true,
can
though. A lot of software that, like Adobe software that you activate, you can deactivate to transfer.
Yes, to transfer.
Yeah, don't get me started on that one.
Sure.
You don't like that?
No. I love that idea in principle.
Right.
But last week I tried to deactivate because I was moving stuff around from a couple of systems, and I have a copy of Acrobat 9 Standard, and so I wanted to deactivate it from my two computers here. And guess what? The deactivate option was grayed out, unavailable.
Sorry, you're not allowed to deactivate.
And it turns out it's a known issue, and you have to call Adobe and they are not tolerant. They interrogate you on the thing, and they try and make you feel like an idiot. And they keep telling you, well, you were supposed to deactivate it. And I said, I tried to. It won't do it. That's why I'm calling you. So in theory, it's a great thing. But like all sorts of activation schemes, when theory collides with the real world, unpredictable events.
Yeah,
happen.
ultimately, it's something designed to punish a very small percentage of people that ends up punishing a very large percentage of people.
Right.
It's very strange. I mean, I'm sure it's well intentioned, but the people who have legitimate Windows copies in this case, and they try to do a clean install with Upgrade Media, and the thing fails. This is a failure of an epic variety, in my opinion, because these are legitimate users.
They're the ones you don't want to piss off.
That should never happen.
That's your customer.
Yeah.
I think the idea
and they should have anticipated this scenario.
Sure. Especially since we were bugging them about it. Yeah. I mean, the two of us, and I'm sure others, spent months. Please.
I do believe that Paul and I were accidentally, inadvertently tag teaming them on this very question.
I did actually. I said to our PR contact at Microsoft, I said, thank you for throwing me into the arms of Ed Bott during this process. I said, you have created a team here,
double-headed monster.
You've created a monster. I mean.
Kiki,
I've only been begging them about this for the entire year, and I know you have as well.
What were you saying, Kiki?
Oh, I think I was just chiming on the same idea of any company that goes against their customers and makes their customers feel like a criminal in the first degree, and it's just not a good way to keep customers. But then you look at it, and they're holding their quality software, their quality product over your head, and basically saying, "You need this. I know you need this. So we're going to treat you whatever."
Adobe's
way
notorious
we feel.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think the customers that you're talking about wanting to keep, the ones who have blogs, the ones who are out there speaking up. The minute a better product or even an equal product comes along, they're gonna jump ship. And so Adobe, and companies like that had better watch out.
Yeah.
Very good point.
I think you go down this slippery slope the minute you put copy protection in, to be honest with you, because then you have to enforce it. And then as soon as you have to enforce it, then this begins where you punish.
It's a treadmill. It never ends.
It is the treadmill. But you know what? From an economic standpoint, I am not a Microsoft shareholder. I have never been a Microsoft shareholder. But if I were, I would. Or when I'm putting myself in the mindset of somebody who's a Microsoft shareholder, I understand the reasons for this. Yeah. If you make it possible for someone to simply buy a Windows DVD and install it on any computer, there's already tons of evidence of people in this country alone, just take the United States, of people who will set up businesses where they will install one copy over and over and over and over again, and sell it to people and charge them the full price for it when they should be paying for it. There are a lot of system builders who have been fined, and some who have been criminally charged for for trying to abuse this process. So it is a real problem, and there is no good solution for it, unfortunately.
I'm wondering what the numbers are, though. Like, what percentage of the money that would be coming into Microsoft is being lost to those kinds of pirates? Like, what?
Yeah, and there's another side issue is in that, when you're growing share, this isn't the type of thing you do at all. But once you're dominant and you have no place to go, and the only thing you're competing with is the last version of your own software, it seems like this is the time that people start implementing copy protection, because suddenly piracy becomes a big part of the market, the next big competitor.
Right.
But by the same token, what you're describing there is the success of the product and the network effect of it is what makes it valuable for pirates to get for free and then charge somebody for.
Kind of a chicken and the egg thing, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think the numbers, the BSA puts out numbers that kind of reflect, in my opinion, the first two letters of their acronym.
Well,
that are in the 30%, in the 30% nature. But I would, it wouldn't surprise me that if there were no copy protection at all, that probably 50% of all copies of Windows, it would be my bet, and we'd have to go into science fiction land to do anything about it, to test my theory. But I'll bet that 50% of it would be phony, because there would be so much economic incentive for small system builders to cheat on this. That
so it's not individuals. You think it's the system builders that are really the culprits here. You're right, because I hear people with beige boxes call me on the radio show saying, I tried to activate my Windows and it says it's already in use by somebody else. Who could that be?
Sure.
And I say, well, that guy...
Off of BitTorrent.
And I had an email exchange with a guy today, really nice guy who was telling me about the system that he had and asking me an upgrade question about it. And he was convinced he had a legal copy, so I asked him if he would please take a photograph of the disk that he was given when he bought this PC and send it to me. And it was one of the worst homemade counterfeits I've ever seen. It said Windows XP Corporate Edition on it, and with no Microsoft logo, no hologram, no nothing.
Awesome.
It was a bad fake. But he thought that he had a legal copy because he paid this guy money for it.
Right.
Huh.
That must be the version of Windows that comes with Office, because I get that question all the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, mine came with Office.
Which version comes with Word?
Mine came with Office.
I'm using Office Vista.
Yeah, how's that working out?
I get that one occasionally.
So I guess that's
Office
legitimate.
XP, I can't remember.
But really what happens is that most of the time anti-piracy measures thwart only honest users, because dishonest users are perfectly aware of how to get around it. It's
understandable why they do it. I mean, I know I told the story in the podcast before at an XP reviewers workshop where they announced the anti-piracy controls they added to XP. They split off all the product groups and they let everyone from the press go talk to whoever they wanted to talk to. And there was one line of people at this guy's desk, and no one else was talking to anybody else. And it was like that scene from Airplane where they all have different weapons and they're going to beat up on the person. This poor guy,
oh, gosh. That's what they do with you.
I still have a lot of the news group messages and emails from that thread, and there was a lot of fear of activation, because that was the first time that activation had come out, and there was a lot of fear, and it turned out to be mostly unfounded. There were a few glitches early on.
You're right.
Mostly it worked.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is what activation reminds me of, and I go through this when I activate every single time. You know how it is when you're sitting in your car and a police officer pulls up behind you?
Yes.
And even though you're doing nothing wrong, you get that you get that slight chill for a second.
Yes.
And then the guy goes by and you think, okay, good. And you're not a criminal, but that's how you feel, right?
Yeah.
I assume that's true for everyone.
Yes.
When you click on that activate now,
that's because you've got a body in the trunk,
right?
Yeah.
All that.
You've got a body in the trunk.
I do. The weed I've been running from Humboldt County.
But clicking
not my kilo, man.
It's the same feeling, right? I'm not doing anything wrong, but God, I just want this to work so I can get on with life.
Yeah.
And
no, you feel a little thrill of I'm not thrilled, but a little frizzen of guilt, and I think that's not exactly the thing you want to instill in your customers.
Not the experience I'm looking for.
I don't have that same feeling. What I get is I'm expecting it to work, or I know that the particular copy that I'm using is, even though it's a retail copy, it's been transferred a couple times, so I know I might have an activation hassle. And about the worst thing that I can expect is that I'm going to have 10 minutes on the phone, and it's absolutely never been more than 10 minutes, and I've done it literally dozens of times. And
they actually know you by name now, and
they got me on caller ID. Mr. Bott, so good to hear from you again.
I know.
Olga is here to talk to you.
I must have a more guilty personality. I don't know. Now I'm nervous what that says about me.
Oh, well. No, I feel the same way. I really do. So it's not just you, Paul.
Thanks, Leo.
But I think there's a third feeling that a lot of our I am pretty confident that Paul gets this from people just like I do, which is the people who sort of feel this principle that they feel I'm being accused of something. And that the whole activation thing is, I bought it, it's mine. Why do I have to prove anything to you? And I sort of understand that feeling. Especially for somebody who doesn't do this very often, or who happens to be the one in.
But that's why it's scary, right? You spent money on something and you installed it and it says no.
Right.
That's scary.
It's infuriating.
It is.
It's not just scary.
It was much scarier back in the pre-Vista SP1 days, when the possible consequences were that your machine would literally stop working. Now they actually have really dialed back on that one, so everything works. You just you lose your desktop wallpaper temporarily, and you get an egg screen or two, but for the most part everything continues to work. They keep learning lessons and then doing the right thing. I think if they could,
like a child.
Well, you're there. You can spank them, Paul. You're in.
Well, no. Actually, it's interesting because the thing that Ed just brought up about the sort of indignation that people feel is absolutely correct. I get this all the time. I feel it. And it comes. I'm sure it comes through in my own writing. You sit down with the guys and you talk to them, and they seem genuinely confused. That there's any strain on anyone's part of this. To them, it's very clear cut. Although they do agree they have not communicated this effectively enough, and maybe even as of now, there's some more information up on the Microsoft website about how to make this stuff work. But my indignation comes from the thing we discussed earlier, just that I have been begging them for months, either to document it yourself or allow me to do it by providing me with the upgrade keys that I need to test it. And I got put off and put off and put off, and it's a little. The reason it's upsetting is because when the product comes out and then it really does deserve that level of investigation, it's disheartening because this is something that should have and could have happened long ago, not after people already had the product.
Well, and for both of us, this is a time when we are, we're really, really busy, and it would have been nice, but so this is the sort of thing where, because they wouldn't think about this in advance, we wind up, Paul and I and a few other people wind up having to drop everything and blow a few deadlines, send in our show notes late, do whatever, and
he hangs his head in shame
because we're testing these scenarios that we could have tested last month or the month before. And come on!
I mean, that is your this summer. That's all I'm saying.
That is your job, though, and it's good because it drives traffic. People need to know this. I mean, it's not completely a bad thing, is it?
It's not. Well, it's not completely a bad thing, but there are a whole bunch of other. There's a whole bunch of questions that people have about how to use the product that I would much.
It's true. I mean, look how much time we've spent talking about this.
It's not about driving traffic.
Right.
Listen, if I could have months ago come up with a couple of articles, this is how you make it work.
Right.
That stuff's going to be there forever. So Windows 7 comes out.
Right.
Here's another point.
No,
By the
you're
way, here
right.
it is, you know.
No, you're right.
So people send me email.
And we
I
would
say,
be
well, here it
writing
is.
stuff about how people can be productive with this product
Right.
instead of how they can work around, these arbitrary and illogical and undocumented hassles.
And by the way, it's kind of sad that my number one Windows tip is how you can bypass activation. It's fantastic. That's exactly the way I figured.
That's what
this
you
was
want to
all
talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
By the way, I
ridiculous.
got a question for you, Paul. Did
Yes.
you actually meet with the man?
The man?
You mean
You
mean the Balmer?
No. The man,
No, he
the
means
man
the
who
man.
wrote the post.
Oh, not
the
yet.
man?
I might. I now have.
Oh,
so
the
he's
guy who
not-
called Paul a pirate or a coddler of pirates?
Yes,
I think he
Lingman.
just called him a hack.
A hack. Okay, well that's close.
Somebody.
Did he call you a hack?
you know,
Somebody called you a hack?
I don't want to be too
That's cold, man.
critical here. I mean, but he has his own little way about him. I don't know. I mean, I have the opportunity perhaps to see him this week, so I might. But
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
and I actually am, and I don't think we need to mention the guy's name. Anyone who wants to go Google it can. And but it was an article on an official Microsoft blog that was talking about the hack that has been published to change the registry to enable.
Oh, you mean the one
this.
that Microsoft Support's been giving out to its customers? That
Yeah,
hack?
that one.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
But there was this. So there was this line in this blog post where it talked about the hack, and then in parens, person or process. So
yeah.
Oh,
Right.
that's terrible.
it
Oh,
was.
screw you. I'm sorry.
Well,
That's really awful. No,
yeah,
I'm not.
It wasn't good.
That's what we
my,
call.
my issue with this though had less to do with the sort of veiled personal attack.
Well, you're
than it did
you're a
with-
big man then. That's
okay.
You're a bigger man than I am.
No, I'm a little man. But it was more to do with the notion that, he had a line about, if you do this thing, you may be breaking the law. And my contention is, if you do this thing, and just to be clear, we're talking about the same thing, you almost certainly are not breaking the law. Those are two different ways to say the same thing, right? But one of them accuses you of being a thief, and the other one does not. And the guy from Microsoft accused his customers of being thieves, which I don't believe they are. And I that was the thing I took exception to.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're
That and the fact that, after apparently catching some kind of trouble from higher-ups or whatever, he then released a second post in which he sort of apologized in an 18,000-word screed in which somewhere deep in the middle it says, "Oh, and if you took offense by this, I'm sorry, but
Sorry.
And specifically said, I was not, when I referred to hacks, I was not referring to Ed Bott or Paul Thurrott.
He did. He said that.
And then goes on at some length to explain, that it was. It was a moment that shall live in infamy.
Sure.
But you know what? To sort of bring this back to positive point of view, if Microsoft had clear, well-organized documentation available to their retail customers, none of this nonsense would be necessary. And they don't. It is gathered in a million different places. I mean, this week, I did a thing on ZDNet, where I pulled together all the different license types that they have and did a table and then an explanation of each one. And a lot of this stuff I had to pull off of partner websites that I have access to because I'm a registered Microsoft OEM partner. And, but it's not available to the public. And yet they assume that every customer will follow these rules that are not written down anywhere that's accessible. And so I got emails from people, including a few lawyers, saying, "Thank you for finally putting this stuff together." And it's just it just is mind-boggling to me that that Microsoft isn't conscious of this. And I plan to make a crusade out of this. Between now and the release of Windows 8, because this really needs to be high up on the list of things that they fix for Windows 8. I think the top two things for Windows 8 should be, number one, a great migration path for everyone running Vista or later. There should be an easy migration path, and the second thing should be crystal clear documentation that any retail customer can read and understand that explains their rights and responsibilities when they use Windows.
I like that.
There.
That's a great idea.
And worded in such a way that it's not a threat.
Human readable, and you're not a criminal.
And it's readable and not put in some kind of technical or legal jargon that the average person is not going to understand at all.
Wouldn't that be novel?
And they've done some of that. A lot of the current license agreement is indeed pretty readable. There's a few parts of it that are incomprehensible gibberish, but there's
it's like saying, if you can find the Rosetta Stone, we can actually tell you what it says, but good luck finding that. They have changed a lot of parts of it through the years that says, you may install one copy of this software on one computer. That finally that right. And that's. Mm-hmm. And I still get emails about that. The people say, "Well, I can install this on my laptop and my desktop, right? Or I can install it on my laptop and in a virtual machine, right?"
Right. And you know why I think that exists is because the only time people ever see the license agreement is the very first time they turn on the PC.
Yeah. And then they don't read it, and that's it.
And they don't read it, and they don't click through it, and then good luck finding it later.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if people would be less upset about how much, they're spending money on it and thinking that it's their property and I should be able to use it however I want. But if prior to buying, it was just put out there as a single use, you get to put it on one machine and that's it.
Just say it.
This is what
say it out loud.
Yeah, they tell you. Microsoft says this is what it is, and this is what you get for this amount of money, and that's it.
And the other problem is that in the old days, I think you could install XP on a couple of machines. Maybe not legally, but you could.
Or like one desktop and one laptop.
It seemed like that was the way it used to be.
That kind of licensing.
Never been that way. Office has always been. You may install it on one desktop PC and one portable PC that you own, and that will not be used simultaneously with the one. That's always been true of Office.
Windows.
Never been true of Windows.
Well, I know maybe not legally, but it seemed to be you could install XP a few times. Am I wrong? Is that my memory might be is faulty?
Never. You might have been able to activate it. That might have been that tolerance thing that we were talking about, where you could get away with it.
I think he's confusing us with people that condone piracy. This has been happening a lot lately.
You hacks. Would you take a little break here? Because we're going to take a little break and come back and talk about other things besides Windows.
Well, I have one more question I'd like to ask Ed around this topic, which is, what are your thoughts around the notion of having a single disk? Forget the upgrade full install thing. Just have one key. It doesn't matter.
Oh, man.
In a bid to make it simpler.
Instead of retail customers,
instead of 64 and 32, I don't understand. You mean
no. A single. So there's no retail SKU. There's
one SKU.
It's so basically it's you buy it. You can use it as an upgrade. You can use it on a new PC. You can use it as a clean install. You can do.
And it's all down to the license number that you get that tells you.
And it's $120. Just like it is for the upgrade of
that's what it should be, in my opinion. Absolutely.
Just like it is. And I think that's for consumers. If we separate out business, where there are, I think, some legitimate reasons to do things otherwise, but if we just say for consumers, then I would agree with that. Businesses aren't doing retail upgrades anyway,
right?
But for consumers, I think that's a smart idea. I'll add that to my Windows 8. Maybe we'll come up with. You and I will come up with 95
the Bill of Rights
theses
for Windows 8.
95 theses to bang on to nail onto Steve Ballmer's door.
I like it.
Grab the torches and storm the castle.
Yeah, the Windows Reformation has begun.
That's right.
Let's take a break. Come back. We're going to talk about actually some other Windows 7 issues, and we've got some great book recommendations. We've got software tips. I've got one again this week. Before we do that, though, I want to mention our friends at Citrix and Go to Assist Express. Now, if you're in the support business, whether you've got your own software that you're supporting or you're an IT professional supporting a bunch of users, You need a tool that's going to make those phone calls go away. A tool that lets you get right into the computer and fix it. For years on the screensavers, we used the Big Brother Go to Assist. Now they've made it faster, easier, more affordable with Go to Assist Express, and I'm still using it, and I love it. I've arranged a free 30-day trial for you if you want to try it out. Go to gotoassist.com, G-O-T-O, assist.com/Windows. You can install it. It'll take a couple of minutes. You'll have it on your system. Use it free for 30 days. The next time you're on a phone call, say, wait a minute, let me send you a link. Or you could even say, go to gotoassist.com, and now you're in the computer. In fact, once you've set it up on your client computer, you can do unattended support. You can do 8 sessions at the same time. Start and install, move to the next one. Start a scan, move to the next one. They have built-in features for IT pros like assays of what software is running, so you know exactly what version of the operating system, what security software, what programs are running in the background. You can even drag and drop files from your computer to the remote computer. So if you've got a registry fix or even an update that you want to put on there, you just copy it right over. It couldn't be easier. Of course, Citrix has always been the most secure way to access a computer using 128-bit SSL and their incredible NAT traversal technology that makes it so simple to set up. 24/7 support for free, too. You try it all for free. Go to gotoassist.com/Windows. Go to Assist Express. I use it. I know you will, and I know you will love it.
So I have some late-breaking news.
Listen up, you people. Here's the latest from Mr. Paul Thurrott.
Hot off the ticker tape.
Yes.
You may recall that Microsoft got rid of Ultimate Extras going to Windows 7.
Yeah, and I missed my Dream Scene.
Yeah, no, I don't have any news about Dream Scene, but the games that were available through that, Tinker and Texas Hold'em, are going to be made available for free via Microsoft's Games for Windows Live program.
Wow.
To everyone?
That's what it says.
And so there'll be a...
So now you
not
really...
just
Now if you bought
Right.
Ultimate Vista, you really feel screwed now.
Yeah, just in case it wasn't driven home, that was a bad bet on your part. Yeah.
You really, really feel it now.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Okay. And I gave away my Windows 7 Signature Edition.
Oh, that's the other thing. Oh my God, this is so funny. So I didn't take a picture of this. I should have. I promised I wouldn't, but I am going to talk about it. At the Microsoft store on the Microsoft campus, which is now in the middle of the Microsoft Commons. Have you seen this place, Ed? The new Commons?
I haven't been up there. No, I haven't been there yet.
You would think that this company was flying on top of the world right now. So it's crazy. But they built it's like an insular Microsoft community with stores and like a AT&T store that has no iPhones in it, a Verizon wireless phone a store that only sells Windows mobile phones. It's crazy. It's like a Microsoft community.
Alternate universe. It's the bizarro Microsoft.
So the Microsoft store is over there, and of course, I went over to check out the Windows 7 products and none are available. They have some Ultimate, and the Pro and Home Premium are gone. But they have a huge bin in the middle of the store. It's called Discounted Software Bin, and what it is full of is copies of Windows Vista for $5 a piece.
What?
Wow!
It's just full of Vista.
I've got about a half a dozen copies here. If I can get $5 each for them sold, I'll even pay the postage.
Full of Vista.
Now, wait a minute. Now, didn't you say, Paul Thurrott, that really Windows 7 is Vista and, really people shouldn't hate Vista so much and really it's,
I'm not sure how this casts any,
Well, it clearly shows that Vista has a perceived value of nothing.
Yeah. But it's, I said, so do we sell these by the bushel now? I mean, how does this thing work? It's like one of those ball things that kids jump into at like a Chuck E. Cheese, except it's full of Vista boxes,
It's so funny.
Like a Vista pit.
Oh, my
That sounds
God.
painful.
Yeah.
Jump into the
strange.
Vista pit, kids. You never had so much fun.
It's
Get a
interesting
box
because
stuck in your rib.
historically, older versions of software have had value because they qualified you for upgrades, and the higher the version that you had, the higher the upgrade version that you qualified for. But because with Windows 7, Microsoft just basically said any version of XP or Vista qualifies for any upgrade to Windows 7, and the price is based on Windows 7. As a result, Vista Ultimate is particularly devalued because there's if the only reason to get it would be
because you like it.
It's problematic to have it because you probably don't want to pay for a 7 Ultimate And if you get a lower end version, you have to do a custom install, right? So it's actually a little bit more of a pain,
right,
to have a higher end version unless you're going to go directly to the next version.
Yeah.
There you go.
I also, and one more. You were in the company store. A question. So they didn't have Windows 7 boxes on sale there?
They did, but they were sold out of Home Premium and Professional. They only had some Ultimate left.
How has Windows 7 sold? Has it been a big... I mean, do we know numbers yet?
No, they haven't said numbers, but what they did say, I guess Steve Ballmer was in Japan this week. He's been traveling the world, apparently. But he said that it sold more in its first 10 days of availability than any previous version of Windows. And, of course, we know from the last quarterly results that it's already sold more in pre-order, than the last two versions combined.
Wow.
So I'd have to assume it's doing pretty well. Yeah.
It's really...
I mean, that's a reflection of the increase in size of the PC market as well. But still, it's there's no question there was some pent-up demand, for something that was, both modern and not tarnished with a bad reputation.
Something that actually worked with your multifunction printer, that kind of thing.
I feel so bad for Vista.
I do too. I still feel it's largely unwarranted.
If it were a person, it would be crying in the corner.
I'm waiting for
right
InfoWorld's Save Vista campaign.
Keep waiting.
but think about it. If XP had huge value for the 3 years that Vista was out. You wouldn't see XP in a bin for $5.
Nope.
No, and actually that's what's interesting about it, isn't it?
And the minute 7 comes out, it's like, screw you, Vista. Well, you're out of here.
You're right. I mean, the big thing I think that might have changed, I think, going forward with Windows is that in the past there were these sort of platform improvements that made new versions of Windows 7 valuable, and developers would create applications that use these new features and so forth. But they kind of watered that down with Vista. They backported a lot of it to XP. I don't think anyone used any of that stuff anyway.
They made it too compatible.
Yeah, I mean, but even though it's compatible, it didn't matter because all those great Avalon applications we were all going to be running.
Oh, Avalon. Who could
remember the windows would stretch and resize and everything would refloat and all that stuff? There's nothing like that out there. Nothing major. And the very few things that did come out either didn't matter, or in the case of things like the New York Times reader, moved on to other technologies.
Called Adobe Air.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that the
did that send a chill down your spine, Ed Bott?
Oh, that was it was like saying Frau Blucher. Leo, you've missed me, haven't you?
I have missed you, Ed Bott. I had forgotten how much I missed you. Microsoft lowers the price on hosted Exchange. Why did you put this in here, Paul? Was this to really zip up my day?
I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. It seems like...
It's been so long since we talked enterprise computing.
Well, sometimes you actually pass out. And I just wanted to see what we could do there.
But I can actually help with this one. Because I have a Microsoft Online account.
You do?
And the team.
You have 5 accounts? You have 5 people?
Actually, I think we have up to 25. If you want, I can. You can join us. But it's I think it's 25 minimum. It might be 5 minimum, but I think we have 25 users on the account. But we got it for doing the work for Windows 7 Inside Out, and did a lot, because we needed some SharePoint and Exchange stuff there, and we're also using it. In fact, nobody knows this yet, but we just signed a contract to do Office 2010 Inside Out, and so we're going to be using that as our sort of back end for a lot of the SharePoint and Exchange things that are part of Office 2010, and it really, really, really works well. They've done a good job with it, and they've taken a lot of the administrative hassle that used to be a part of managing Exchange and SharePoint. They've taken out of it, and they have a little client part that goes with it as well that simplifies the login process, so you're not constantly having to enter your credentials. You enter them once and then they're cached for several weeks and tied to your Windows login. So it actually became an excellent productivity tool for us.
Wow. But see, to me, the Microsoft stuff has always been superior to the Google thing, but the problem was it was expensive, or fairly expensive, compared to Google. Most of the people using Google
we
aren't
would
paying
certainly not. If I had my own little company, the price would have been a little steep. I think it was like $30 a user a year or something like that. But with the minimum is what gets you for a small where they really can't play is in the 5 to 10 account company or the distributed company. The people who are, I want to put together a team of 5 people and we're all consultants, but we're all working together and sharing stuff. And Google has a better story there.
Yeah,
because you don't.
Microsoft one's getting a little bit better. So they have something that's about $60 per user per year, which is compared to $50 for Google. So it's getting down there. Yeah. It's getting there. That's all, Leo.
Are you guys done now? Because Kiki and I went on a picnic.
I just listen. I just want to make sure we're clear here that hosted services are the future.
I don't even know what they are. So if you say they're the future, I'm sure it's the case. No,
it means that you won't accidentally lose your email because your hard drive crashes.
Oh, you mean Gmail?
Wow. No, we don't mean Gmail.
You're talking about Yahoo Mail.
Okay.
No, I'm just teasing. I actually have a free hosted Exchange account from DNA Mail because they're a sponsor. DSL Extreme, which runs them, as a sponsor on the radio show, and it's great. We don't use it, but it's really cool. I mean, hosted is the way to go. I would be crazy to run Exchange.
Well,
yourself.
I think so. To sort of paraphrase what Ed was trying to say was Ed needs email and the collaboration stuff you get with SharePoint. But he doesn't
fantastic.
want to administrate it.
No one wants to. Yes. No. I talked to.
But Ed's a technical person. I mean, imagine a normal small business.
It's a nightmare.
I mean, what are you going to do?
I talk to people who administer Exchange servers all the time. They come up to me. You can always tell it's an Exchange administrator because they sidle up and they go, "Oh man, you never want to run your own Exchange server, ever,
right?
Ever."
And then they say, "Kill me,
kill me. I am so unhappy." No, I'm not kidding. I mean, they hate it.
It's tough.
And it's great. DNA Mail is fantastic. I mean, it's just
hosted.
It's hosted.
I am
it's great.
Big fan of hosted. I have a hosted Exchange account with a company that is not one of your sponsors.
Tell us the name. I'm not. You don't remember?
I'm drawing a blank on Mail Street.
Yeah.
Mailstreet.com.
Yeah. Let them do it. That's all they do.
They have been wonderful, and it's like it's $10 a month. And
wow, that's a good deal for 25 users. That's a great deal.
No, that's $10 a month for a single user
per user. Okay,
but I mean, it's my calendar, it's my contacts, it's email and all the other stuff that goes along with it, and it syncs to this Mac that I'm using here. It syncs to this iPhone that I have. It syncs to my Windows mobile phone, and I don't have to think about any of those devices. I when I put it on in one place, it shows up in the other places, and I don't have to do a single bit of administration for it because it's hosted.
Right.
Just, so there you go.
I agree with what he said, except for the Apple stuff. But no, that's sure.
Have you tried Exchange on an Apple?
I have. Unfortunately, the Exchange server that I have access to does not do auto discovery, so I don't get that. Type in your address and go. It requires a lot more work. So,
yeah.
I think something that's interesting with the Exchange server now that Verizon has Droid coming out, they're increasing the cost for the Exchange support.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, there's a brief thing.
But is that unusual?
For Verizon to raise prices?
No. I mean, for someone to charge extra for that kind of thing. Doesn't Apple, in fact?
No. Well, for instance, on the iPhone, I think it's... Well, I don't think they do charge. It just works with Exchange.
They charge nothing for it. They pay a licensing fee to Microsoft.
Right.
So what? But they have a business access account. What's the difference then? So, if you look at the wireless plans that are available, There's one that's for businesses, and it's more expensive. That's not Exchange?
I don't know. But I do know that the Exchange services on the iPhone come with it. And in fact, Google now uses the Exchange protocols.
Yeah, right, of course, yeah.
So it's great. I mean, I just use Exchange, and I set up my Gmail, and it's got my calendars, it's got my address book. It really is.
No, I've done the same. Right,
yeah,
so I do the same
fantastic,
thing, yeah.
And that's free.
Yeah, in the Mashable article, it says that AT&T charges $30 a month for data plans for BlackBerry and iPhone, and you can set up Exchange accounts.
It's part of part of what you're paying.
So what's the cost of the Verizon data plan on the Droid?
Yeah, the Verizon, it has 3 tiers, $30 a month on top of your voice to add data and non-Exchange, $45 for data and
so they're
Exchange,
actually charging more. Okay,
and then $50 for data only.
But let me ask you something: does it actually connect to a 3G network? Unlike AT&T?
It's supposed to be 3G.
Because that would be a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Zing.
Wow. Ouch.
Hey, anyone who uses AT&T, listen, you won't find an AT&T Defender outside of their
you won't. No, that's true.
No, you won't find it. I unless they work for AT&T, you won't find a Defender.
Yeah.
They're just pretty awful.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the Droid, so I'm looking.
Are you going to get a Droid?
I'm going to get a Droid.
I tried one this weekend. It really feels solid. It's beautifully made. I think it is the Android handset for sure, at least for right now.
Here, the weirdest thing is my wife, who has holds back on technology forever in every case. She actually, on her own, went out and pre-ordered a Droid. My wife did.
Wow.
And
I just, she researched it, and
she's right. I think she'll be happy. Yeah.
I was telling her, I said, I don't know enough about it, but it seems like it's a very technical product that's aimed at technical people. But she is on Verizon, so she doesn't have as much choice with, but she wants to get a Google phone.
It's good hardware. I think she'll like it. The Google Marketplace is really starting to look better. Somebody's telling me
about the Apple Halo effect, but so I wonder if this is a Google Halo effect.
I think there is.
It might be.
Because people really,
Google's beloved.
Google the verb.
Yeah. Somebody's telling me in the chat room that that those are business prices on the Verizon thing, that if you are a end user, you don't have to pay the additional Exchange.
Okay.
So the business plan.
Well, that's what I'm wondering about the Exchange thing. There is a higher cost data plan, I think, for business customers, and I don't know when it applies. I mean, I don't pay it. I'm an individual, but
right. I don't know.
We don't know. We're
lost too.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not like AT&T is not taking every advantage they can to charge you for something.
No, that's true. It's not. They're not the good guys by any means.
They're not altruistic.
Yeah, they're all.
I walked into one of their stores the other day. They had a turnstile you had to feed a couple quarters into
just to get into the store. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, in all honesty, the people in the AT&T store were lovely. They were so nice.
Really?
They really and truly were nice, and so we can make fun. I will make fun of AT&T's service and all of that, but the people in the store went out of their way to treat us well.
Sure, I've had this experience too, and also on the phone. And I actually had an arbitration process with them because of a higher than desired phone bill after coming back from Europe, and they were actually great about that, and refunded a significant amount of money.
That's nice. They figured out a way for me to pay $200 extra, and then that way I wouldn't pay $500 extra.
Yeah, well, I think Paul and I both said that because we both just got Twitter messages from AT&T lawyers saying they were
Hey, they're using Twitter now. That's good. PDC.
Only their lawyers.
PDC is coming up next week. This is like the third PDC in a row, isn't it? Or just the second in a row?
I hope it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It says next week in my notes.
It's 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
Otherwise, I really screwed up.
You must not have gotten the updated show notes, Leo. I'm sorry. That will probably arrive.
And Paul's the guy who arrived at the airport thinking he had a ticket, and he actually didn't. And
no, I had a ticket. It just wasn't for that day.
So he had to buy one at the airport. Never buy a ticket at the airport.
Like a homeless person.
I want to go to Tulsa. How much would that cost?
I understand you're flying to San Francisco.
Do you have another credit card, Mr. Thurrott?
Yeah.
This one's not big enough.
I'm sorry, you can't.
Snacks served on this flight.
You can't carry that knapsack on the plane, sir.
It was my first old guy moment. It was awful.
The old guy moment. It won't be your last.
And then I just peed myself and went home. It was just, it was embarrassing all around.
Just as long as you didn't get lost on the way home as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait till the gray beard grows in, Paul.
The guy wandering around in Terminal A.
What is PDC?
Well, it's a developer-oriented show. During Longhorn and Windows Vista, PDC went from being very uninteresting to being very interesting. Although I wonder about this year.
Professional Developers Conference, just to be literal there. Professional Developers Conference.
Are you going to go this year?
Yeah, apparently.
I'm up to 95% now. I think.
Really? So there's a chance you might not do it?
Yeah, it's this group blog thing I think has me.
That's what put you over the edge.
It's pushed me over the edge.
I'm taking my entire SharePoint group to PDC. I'm so excited.
I'm asking Ed if he's going to be there, and we've been emailing about it. I forgot. So I am.
Where is it this year?
As we've established, in Los Angeles again,
as it has been for the last several years. Yeah. So there's So last year, in fact, I'm wearing. Those who haven't noticed, I'm wearing my PDC 2008 T-shirt.
Wow,
just
it's very
in honor
vintage.
Of the occasion.
Beautiful.
And last year, of course, it was the public unveiling of Windows 7 and a reviewers workshop for members of the elite press. 500 of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Elite. And
I got to figure, by the way, they gave out those laptops, which they're going to be asking for back very soon. And I was actually surprised by how many of those they gave out.
Yeah,
I think overall there were 500 or 600 of us, but then there were also 500 others that got these things. It's over 1,000 people.
These are the laptops with the Windows 7 beta on them.
Right. Yeah, mine already went back.
I sent it back. You sent it back proactively.
I did.
That's a true journalist. He sends them back before he's
I told
asked.
Microsoft, cold dead fingers. But
it's the beta now. You don't really need that anymore.
No, we've been upgrading over time.
Oh God, we've been upgrading, all along the way. And I, for me, it was one of those things where I was writing about the hardware that I've been testing Windows 7 on, and this was a review unit, and I wanted to be able to. To say with my journalistic ethics intact that this was truly a review unit and it had been returned. The ironic thing is that I've had 4 or 5 notebooks that I've been using for the past year or so, and this one from Microsoft, while it was quite nice and quite light and it had a solid state drive and everything, it was the one I used the very, very least.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I think maybe it was the graphics on it, which were pretty weak. The graphics were pretty weak.
I found that the SSD was too small, which I found irritating.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah, the screen size was good. The keyboard was nice. The weight of it was good. If it was my machine, I would have had the price. Had I been buying it and the price been right, I might have considered one like that. But there's a whole raft of machines that are like that now, and with bigger SSDs, finally,
Well, how big was the SSD?
64.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Too small.
Yeah, too small.
Too small. My media collection is more than 64 gigabytes.
No, but I'm asking because I put a 128 gig on this Latitude Z, and then you can put a second one in. It actually holds 2, and I thought, oh, this is great. I'll just wait till they're fast and cheap. And then it's got a little tiny porthole on the bottom. I don't think I'm going to be able to get in there to put another one in.
I just got a Latitude XT2, which is their tablet touch. Tablet touch machine, and it has a 256 gig SSD.
Yeah, there you go.
In it, and
I could have ordered a 512. I mean, it just was it's what you order on it.
Yeah, but that's like buying a new car.
They would have needed your American Express black card.
Yeah. No, but I like the idea they're putting SSDs in laptops. Now, tell me about touch, because that's 7 has this built-in touch stuff. Does it work well on a laptop? Is it better than tablet?
Well, it's a tablet, right?
It's tablet. Is it just tablet?
Actually, I think that makes a big difference. I think touch makes a lot of sense on a tablet.
It's awesome on the tablet, and when the new Kindle app comes out,
I can't wait for this
for Windows 7 with the touch, it will be. It will be.
Exactly.
bye Kindle.
Yeah.
I use it all the time for reading PDF files. Reading, it's great for if you get a 64-page like reviewer's document from Microsoft,
and you want to just kind of flick through it.
You just flip through it. You literally flip through it with your finger. It's a lot of fun to browse the web with it because you can just tap a link and make it work. It's fun for resizing pictures. It's still, those are particular usage scenarios that work well, but we're still waiting for the apps to come out that really take advantage of it. And now Media Center with touch.
I was going to say Media Center, and that's awesome great. On a touch screen, like an HP type all-in-one, where maybe you even mount it on the wall, and you can flick through.
I have a special guest.
Collection.
she insisted.
My dog is getting upset. Now be careful.
She insisted.
That cat's a Mac user, I can tell.
What's the name? So for those who are listening, which is like 90% of the audience.
This is the famous Katie.
Katie the cat. Does she have a Twitter account?
She has an email account.
It's almost as bad. It's only a matter of time.
She does not. I probably should give her a Twitter account.
My dog has a Twitter account.
Basically, if you if I leave a notebook open on a desktop,
it's like Archie and Mehitabel. Remember that? That was the
yeah.
My cats both sleep next to the exhaust ports on my PC, and they overheat it because they're sucking all of the hot air out of it, or they're keeping it inside, I guess.
Katie has learned about how wonderful power bricks are.
Oh, they're warm.
Well, that's the other thing. They sleep on routers. They love the routers.
Yeah.
Anything that's hot.
Anything that generates heat.
Yep. All over.
So yeah.
So PDC is there going to be any
this week in cats?
My pet. Is there going to be anything announced at PDC? Anything significant? Anything important?
Oh, see, I don't know. I'm nervous about this. I've been promised some surprises by the Windows guys. I guess we'll see.
I have been promised. They have told me that it will be worth my while to go.
Oh.
Yeah, but they promised us surprises at the launch, remember?
Yeah, they say that all the time.
Yeah?
Well,
the Kindle app.
Sometimes the surprise is there's no surprise.
But we got you here.
Yeah, surprise. That's the surprise.
Yeah, surprise. It's a nasty surprise.
Yeah, I don't know. That I think I think there will be some talk of Office 2010 because there's the timing for that is clearly vectoring in that direction.
Is that a Bob Zemeckis film or Paul Schrader?
No, that's the sound of me owing Ed dinner.
And I think there will be some. I think there will probably be some. Maybe some Windows 7 technologies that. Maybe some of the like sensor and location stuff they might actually be able to show off because they've been talking about that and they've now had an opportunity for some of that stuff to gel. But I'm expecting it to be more about just sort of consolidating information about a few product lines than about learning anything big and fancy and new.
Yeah, and by the way, maybe because if it is a less exciting show, so to speak, it might be interesting to actually attend a PDC and do what you're supposed to do at PDC, which is actually go to some sessions and learn something. You never know. I mean, every time I go to PDC, I always look at the session list. I think, I want to go to this or this, and I never really have time. And I'm hoping this time.
Because they booked executive briefings for you.
Yeah, it's always this stuff going on, I remember sitting through a briefing on Azure last year. After the keynote, you sit through the keynote, have no idea what this was all about. 45 minutes one-on-one with someone, and they said, does this help at all? And I said, I have no idea what this is. You've been talking, and I just don't understand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so that's when they said, well, here's your developer key. Just go play with it.
Go. Just take the laptop and go.
Yeah, develop something in SQL Azure. We'll talk to you later.
SQL.
All
right, and make sure you do it in 128-bit SQL.
Yeah, exactly. It's the future. That's all I'm saying.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we've got our pick of the week and a tip of the week. And Ed's promised a Windows 3.0 tip of the week, so that's pretty exciting.
Dust off the tome. We have to figure this one out.
Oh, that's easy.
Man, I'm in trouble.
Wouldn't it be fun? I think we should do retro tips.
Sure.
See if you can find get a.
If you're listening to this podcast from the past,
get an old PC computing out, Ed. You probably have some from the
into the command line
early '90s, and
frighteningly, I do.
I thought you might.
All right, you
have a moment, Ed. You have a moment.
Through my archives
you have a moment while we talk about Audible.com. Get your free book at Audible.com right now. Audible.com/Windows. That's the gold account. When you go there, you get the book a month deal, and the first book's free. And in fact, even if you cancel, it's yours to keep forever at Audible.com/Windows. And you, my friend, Paul Thurrott, have been reading a new book by Ken Auletta, which I have been dying to read. Have you started it yet?
I did. I actually downloaded it this morning. I was so excited. I saw that a mention of this somewhere, and it is on Audible, which is great. So
yeah, I'm dying to read this. I love Ken Auletta. He does the media coverage for the New Yorker.
Yeah, and he wrote a great book about Microsoft a decade ago now, I think, called World War 3.0.
Right. It's been a while.
About Microsoft versus Netscape and the U.S. government and all that. So he has a new book out called Googled, The End of the World as We Know It. Obviously about Google, and he had great access to the company, including the co-founders and the CEO, and had time on campus and so forth. So it should be a great read. It looks excellent.
Narrated by Jim Bond. 13 hours and 53 minutes of googly goodness, and yours absolutely free
in enhanced format. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm now only downloading enhanced, even though it's twice as big, but it just sounds so beautiful.
It makes a big difference.
Audible.com. Audible is an online bookstore with 65,000 titles. You go, you browse. It's really fun. Everything from thrillers to history, science fiction, award winners, New York Times bestsellers. Just go to audible.com and browse around. You'll see what I mean. And then pick your first book because it's free if you go to audible.com/Windows. But this would be a good choice if you're at all interested in the.
I wish there were more books like this. This is the type of book I'm really interested in, and it seems like we've gone through kind of a dry spell. So
I'm pressing my put it on the wish list button right now. Googled The End of the World as We Know It. Ken Auletta, Jim Bond narrating, and it's yours for one credit or absolutely free if you go to audible.com/Windows. We thank them so much for their support of Windows Weekly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Ed Bott. With a Windows 3.0 tip. No, I can't do it. That's so mean.
Yes. Okay, so you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Please involve Hi-Mem. Please involve Hi-Mem.
Hi-Mem.
I have the October 1994 PC Computing Windows Super Guide.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Paul, you are going to appreciate this because there are 3 authors on it. Guess, and I'm the primary author. Guess who the second author is?
The second author?
Second author.
Rafael Rivera wasn't even born at the time, so I know it's not.
It's not Brian, is it?
Randall Kennedy.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't know him. I don't know him. Is he one of the Kennedy brothers? Is he the unknown Kennedy brother? Is he the one that became a geek?
So
that Kennedy brother. Are you serious?
I couldn't make that up if I tried.
So who is he? Why is
Who's the third? Who's the third one?
Yael Liron.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, you remember Yael.
Yeah.
So here's your tip. If you haven't already upgraded to Windows for Workgroups 3.11, do it right away. The most recent of the 16-bit Windows derivatives offers 32-bit file access, a la the forthcoming Chicago, which boosts disk I/O performance dramatically. And don't worry if you're not on a network. Windows for Workgroups 3.11 works just fine as a standalone product. So there,
just fine.
We've gone back.
So Ed, you know what's sad about this tip is
it's still good.
Literally 2 weeks ago in New York, this topic came up between Ed and I. We discussed Windows for Workgroups.
Yes,
remember?
Windows for warehouses, they called it.
Yes, and this exact functionality that, everyone gives Microsoft or Windows 95 credit for the 32-bit stuff.
Yep.
But it was actually available first in Windows for Workgroups 3.11.
Although...
And on that same page that I just read from, by the way, just as long as we're into irony here, I'll read you the final sentence on this. Finally, to keep your system running at peak performance, Windows expert Brian Livingston offers his all-time favorite undocumented Windows secrets.
Yes, that's back when he had hair
And secrets.
And secrets. Both of them.
So this was.
It's an all-star crew there. I'm surprised you don't.
That wasn't just a trip down memory lane. That was.
It was actually a painful bit of self-discovery.
That was a nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. He'll like the hands will just come up and pull you down through the floor. You know?
So,
the good old days.
Man, that was so. Yeah, you asked for it, Leo.
And I'm glad I got it. I am. That was wonderful, a wonderful moment. Now, fast forward ahead to the 7th version of Windows, and or something.
7th version, is that what this is?
Something like that.
Okay.
Depends on how you count.
Somewhere in the single to double digits. It's in there somewhere.
The 7th-ish version of Windows.
Yeah. Windows 7 Upgrade Media.
No, we've already beaten this to death. I just wanted to make sure that was the tip this week.
Go to the website is the tip.
Yeah, go to the website. If you have any worries about upgrading or about clean installing with Upgrade Media, most of it is now known, finally. So it only took 2.5 weeks or whatever.
No, it's this is the first thing I did this morning.
Louisville Slugger.
Yeah.
What about Louisville Slugger? What?
I'll look at my site in Safari.
We had to use a baseball bat to get.
Yeah, your site looks good in Safari. Look at that.
It's nice.
It's clean. It's
How
simple.
does full screen mode work in Safari? I can't remember. Sorry.
There is no full screen mode, you son of a... However, there's a very attractive zoom. The reason I use Safari for my screenshots is...
Oh, because you can zoom in.
I can zoom, and it zooms everything cleanly and maintains your lovely formatting.
I'm sure it's not the only one that does it.
I can't... even Firefox is supposed to do it, but doesn't do it as well.
Huh.
Isn't that nice?
It's
good. It's actually good for...
It works great on IE8.
Does it? Does it do that on IE8?
Absolutely.
I've never had to go back and rewrite.
Oh, it does. You're right. Look at that.
As much as I have with this one.
It works very nicely in IE8. You're right.
With the and you can use the scroll wheel for continuous zooming as well. I think Windows key plus scroll. I think.
You mean like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But can you go this close?
Oh. Actually, there's a hidden message.
Just don't get that close to my face, please. Right. All
right. So yes, that is a good tip, although a tip that you probably have figured out by now, since we've been spending the last hour and a half talking about this. You must go to that site though if you're before you face the upgrade conundrum. You also have a software pick, Paul.
I do. I have two.
Well, then I won't do mine because that would make it 3.
No, I think it's okay. We should do it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
The first one is called SkyDrive Explorer. This is the thing that I think a lot of people have been looking for, which is a way to access your 25 gigabytes of SkyDrive storage via Windows Explorer.
Finally.
Yeah. Now, it's not perfect. I've gotten so many recommendations for this tool. It does work. It doesn't let you drag in folder structures, but you can create folders and then drag in any number of files, it seems. So it does, the drag and drop works, and that's pretty much what you're looking for. But I wish there was some way to drag in, some arbitrary number of folders and files all at the same time. But I can't get that to work.
At least you can see the structure, and the structure is visible and navigable.
Yeah, and you can create...
right.
You can create folders and so forth. So that's a great tool. It's certainly better than the only other product that worked like this, something called GladNet, which was really hard to configure and get running properly and really buggy in use. And SkyDrive Explorer seems to work better.
Is this going to let me use a backup utility now on SkyDrive?
I haven't tested that, but that's interesting. And
that's what I want to do, of course.
Yeah. It seems like it should work. I mean, if you can...
Are they mounted? Is it mounted? Is it mapped? Does it look like it's on the...
So it doesn't get a drive letter. It does appear in a computer, or what used to be my computer. And
I honestly would not use SkyDrive with a backup utility. Amazon S3 is so much better for that.
But it's not free like SkyDrive.
Oh, I have...
well, they're not comparable.
I have 25 gigabytes of storage or more on Amazon S3, and I think I pay, $1.63 a month.
Yeah. So I do, by the way, I do the same thing, and I use
Amazon
S3 for backup. But I would like to be able to sync to this thing through say, Live Mesh. That would be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be some working set of files that I needed, for whatever reason. That would be nice. But I think we'll get there. But this is okay for now. And by the way,
they probably have to kill off a couple of product teams.
Yeah.
And
at least a couple.
And declare a winner.
By the way, this is not to get off on a side tangent, but that's the problem with Ray Ozzy's Microsoft, right? Is that he allows these people to do these things in tandem and sort of overlap development. And his thought is that, if 1,000 flowers bloom or whatever.
It's Darwinian.
Yeah. But you get software that...
but didn't they say that they would kill the babies?
Wow.
Isn't that what you said? Isn't that the phrase?
The phrase was knifing the baby, but
so believe it or not, kill the babies was a softened version.
Well, no, but we're talking about two different things. In other words, an example of knifing the baby would be licensing Exchange Server or Exchange ActiveSync to Apple,
right?
Rather than protecting Windows Mobile, or allowing, in the case of I think it was Windows 98, allowing AOL on the desktop to the detriment. I guess it was Windows 95 to the detriment of MSN, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a question of differing fiefdoms with non-compatible.
Sure. Well, I just saw
solutions.
they upgraded Live Sync recently, and Live Sync is very, very much like Live Mesh, except that it doesn't have a web desktop. And they made a Mac client that works with Snow Leopard. And I thought, geez, they're really doing this. So they're doing these two different things that are almost exactly the same, and they are. Right. But neither one of them will sync to SkyDrive. So hopefully sometime in the future. Anyway,
and you have one more. You have one more.
The killing of the babies.
Yeah, I know. Every time I save that, I say.
I know. The other one is called Connectify, and this is a feature, a piece of software that exposes functionality that is in Windows 7, and it was originally supposed to be a feature in Windows 7, but they dropped it. That allows you to share a wireless connection with only one wireless card, and have a wireless hotspot off of your laptop. So you could conceivably go into a Starbucks, and if you paid for the connection, you could then share it out and use that same wireless connection with your iPhone or another smartphone or another computer.
Huh.
So it's like a personal Wi-Fi hotspot.
Why did I think Windows could do that anyway?
Well, you can do it with more than one wireless card, but this allows you to do it with one.
I see.
Right, or you could have a hardwired connection and then share it over the wireless if you wanted, or vice versa, I suppose. Right. But this allows you to do it with one wireless, one piece of wireless hardware.
Got it.
Now, the problem with it doesn't work with all wireless chipsets or devices. And actually, unfortunately, on the laptop I have with me here, it's one of the ones that's not supported.
And I'll bet I know which one that is, but we don't need to mention it by name.
Because it's going back soon.
Anytime you mention wireless chipsets and say problems, there's one name that just comes up.
Oh, well, tell us the name. That's the one. Please, that would be useful.
Well, Atheros is the one that's
usually bad chipset.
They're not bad. They're just they just for whatever reason there's interoperability and there interoperability issues and driver issues and it tends to come up and whenever there's a wireless issue, that word just often comes up there. Good product. I think it's often chosen on the basis of price rather than features. Did I guess right?
No, but actually, Atheros is one of the problem chipsets in this case. It is on the list. Certainly.
You're close.
Now, the one I have is it's weird. I have an Intel 5100, and it works if I had a 64-bit OS installed, which I would if this was my computer, it would work. But with 32-bit, this is a loaner laptop from Lenovo, and for some reason they put 32-bit on here. For some reason that one doesn't work with this utility. Strange.
Isn't that strange?
Anyway, cool utility. So you said you had something as well, Leo.
Well, I feel this is silly, but because we were talking about how wonderful shared exchange or hosted exchange is, but if
you're not going to recommend Gmail, it's not Gmail, is it?
Gmail. Have you heard of it?
That's your software pick of the week.
It's so cool. No, it's called Office Sync.
Okay.
And it's right now because it's in beta. It's free. Office OFFISYNC.
Wait.
Office, and then sync SYNC. Get it? Because it syncs Microsoft Office to Google Docs.
Like Office Sync.
Office Sync.
Enabling collaboration.
And it's free right now. So the idea being that we use Google Docs like crazy in the office here, But for instance, our bookkeeper says I can't use Google Spreadsheet. I got to use Excel. It's too slow. So she uses Excel, but it saves to Google Docs. It's shared on Google Docs, but she can still use Excel. It adds a toolbar to Office 2007 that allows you to use Office and Google Docs. And I've been using it, and it's really sweet. So I'm working in Microsoft Word, but I'm saving and sharing on Google Docs. And it's free right now. They looks like they'll probably have a pro version that you paid for. It might be freemium kind of a service.
Freemium?
You like that? I didn't invent it.
I do like that.
I didn't invent that. I can't take claim for it. I'd like to.
No, it's a good word, though. I like it.
That's a great, it's a business model, and I think it's a good one.
I think Chris Anderson came up with that long tail guy.
Okay.
But anyway, somebody did. I'm sure, not me. Office Sync. I'd be interested in what people, what their reaction is to it, but the negatives and so forth. But I found it to be very useful. It certainly solves a problem.
This is like the Hershey's peanut butter cup of the software world. It's like two great tastes to go together.
Exactly.
You got Google in my office.
Yeah, you got Office in my Google. Got Office in my Google. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gone on way too long, but it's been so much fun having Ed Bott back.
Yeah.
You got to come back and visit us again soon.
So I will not see you next week, but I guess I'll see you the week after that.
I'll see you at the airport next week.
I'll wait at the airport for you.
Live from PDC. Yeah, just wait and you can buy a ticket. That'll be great.
It's like the weakest PDC blog ever.
I came and there was no one there, so I went home.
Yeah. It'll be the group blog that will, I think it'll have like 14 entries from it, 7 different bloggers.
Sure.
Where's my PDC?
We'll have enough people blogging that I can just be silly, which is what I sort of want to do.
I think that's good. Ed Bott is at edbott.com, edbott.com, and of course blogs.zdnet.com/BOTT. And really great having you, Ed. What's the next book?
Office 2010 Inside Out.
Look for the Inside Out series.
To be released sometime in the
calendar year 2010.
Calendar year 2010, probably even fiscal year 2010. So
we hope.
One can only hope.
Paul Thurrott's book is out right now. It's, of course, Windows 7 Secrets. No. Yes.
Well, Ed has a book out about Windows 7 as well. We should mention that.
Inside Out.
Windows 7 Inside Out, Windows 7 Secrets. I think everyone should buy them together.
Both.
I agree.
They should go to Amazon. They have the little group deal there. You go down to the bottom and and you can get a little extra discount there if if you can only buy one. We'll duke it out there, but they complement each other. They complement each other.
People who bought Windows 7 Inside Out often buy Windows 7 Secrets.
Interesting.
You see?
And people who buy Windows 7 Secrets often buy books about parenting and about pregnancy.
Apparently.
Very strange. Amazon is a mysterious place.
It's very strange. Paul Thurrott is at the super site for Windows, winsupersite.com. Dr. Kirsten Sanford is the host of our wonderful science show, Dr. Kiki's Science Hour, which is heard every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, but is soon, like next week, actually this week, but next week as well, to be a audio podcast.
And thank you, by the way, for coming in. And on behalf of everybody, I'm really sorry.
She knew what she was getting into, trust me. She totally knew what she was getting into.
I volunteered.
She did. And so thank you, Kiki, for being here. And thank you all for watching. We make sure to do this live every, Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm so confused.
You make fun of me.
I need a ticket.
I would like to go to San Francisco, please.
You serve soup on the airplane.
Leo.
Thank you, Ed Bott. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Take care, Ed.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.
And we'll see y'all next time on Windows Weekly.